Hey guys, welcome to YGZ Taiwan. We've got a little bit of a different style of video for you today, but I think it's going to be very interesting. We've got a special guest here on YGZ Taiwan, and I'm really excited about this one. So let's get straight to it, shall we? Winston Sturzel, better known by his YouTube channel name Serpentza, really needs no introduction. I mean, he's the original China vlogger with a library of YouTube videos spanning over a decade. Throughout the years, this treasure trove of videos has given us all a fascinating insight into life in China, its culture and politics, and all from a unique foreigner's perspective. And best of all, it's all independently produced. Winston has been lucky enough to not only shoot videos all around China, but also all over the world, including India, the USA, and Taiwan. In fact, watching his videos about Taiwan really helped me to make the decision to actually come here and see this amazing country for myself. His vast knowledge and experience with both China and Taiwan means that his opinion is an extremely important one, and when Winston talks, people listen. So today, Winston is going to answer some questions about Taiwan that I prepared for him. I think it's going to be extremely interesting to hear his thoughts and opinions about the country where I currently live.
First time I went to Taiwan was in 2007, I believe. I went for a friend's wedding and I stayed for about a week, maybe a week and a half. But during that time I bought a scooter and I rode around pretty much the whole island, almost. And I absolutely loved it. And I got to see all sorts of cool things. I went up the Taipei 101 when it was still the tallest building in the world. I went all over the island. It was fantastic. I really had a good time. So that was the first time. I have been to Taiwan since then, 2 other times. And both times I've made a big thing of it and gone around the entire island. In fact, with my business partner, Seamilk, and myself, we went to Taiwan to do like an ADV Taiwan adventure. We went around the whole island, we filmed it all, it's all up on the ADV China channel, we absolutely loved it. It's such a beautiful, fantastic place. As I tell all of my friends and people who ask me about visiting China, for instance, I tell them to go visit Taiwan, and the reason I do that is because you can see real Chinese culture in Taiwan, and I'm talking about, you know, before it was destroyed by the communists over in mainland China, before Mao Zedong got in there with his great leap backwards and his cultural devolution and wiped out the culture. So if you want to see, you know, temples and dragons and tradition and that kind of thing, you go to Taiwan. It's still all there. On top of that, you've got a big Japanese influence as well. So you really get to see a lot of Asian cultures mixed together, and it's fantastic. I'll add to that the night markets and the vibe walking around is just fantastic. I love it. It's incredibly renau, you know, it's very lively and interesting, and to go specifically to the various night markets around the country, which doesn't matter which one you choose, there's always something interesting to see at night, and especially for a young man or a young person, it's really a fantastic thing to experience. Yes, you're a moron if you don't own a scooter in Taiwan. I mean, of course, the public transport there is great. You can take buses and things like that. But the freedom of owning a scooter or a motorcycle, I mean, that's one of the big draws for me. That's why I love Taiwan so much. That's why I always look forward to going to Taiwan, because I take my helmet with me even on the plane. And the first thing I do when I get off the plane is I go rent a motorbike or a scooter and I just hit the streets, because you have the ultimate freedom to go anywhere on a scooter. And a scooter, in fact, is better than a bike in many ways in Taiwan because of all the twisty mountainous roads. It's just so much more suited to that. It's so much easier to ride. You can store things in it and you can really go have a good time. So yes, you should have a scooter. You should buy one. And if you don't have a scooter in Taiwan, you're a moron. To the people who say Taiwan is a part of China, I would ask you this. Why does it have a different government? Why does it have a different currency? Why does it have a different passport? Why does it have a different culture? Why does it have a different society? And why are the people so different? Of course, it's a different country. It was the result of a civil war, and some people went there and some people stayed there. And you know what? Taiwan developed into its own thing, went through its own trials and tribulations, and turned out to be what it is today. Very advanced as far as technology is concerned, a very unique culture and democracy. And that is something very separate from mainland China, which basically just wallowed in its terrible chaos for so long until finally opening up to the rest of the world and doing its own thing. But it's got nothing to do with Taiwan. As far as I'm concerned, Taiwan will always be its own country, and it has its own leaders and its own way of life. There are a couple of reasons why Taiwan is so important in 2021. Number one, of course, the chip manufacturing, which everyone relies on. Taiwan is the world leader when it comes to chip manufacturing, and from that point of view, it's very important. But also, the world can learn a lot from Taiwan on how to deal with the COVID pandemic, which came out of Wuhan. The way Taiwan dealt with it and is still dealing with it is still the best in the entire world as far as I'm concerned. They've been hit the least. They've managed to stave off the infections and stave off the pandemic. So everyone should look to Taiwan as an example of how to deal with the pandemic. Do I think that mainland China will invade Taiwan? Honestly, personally, I can't guarantee either way, but I'm leaning more towards no. And the reason I say that is it would be the biggest mistake China has ever made, because they will be rattling a hornet's nest and they will have the entire world against them. Don't forget that although the rest of the world has more or less been forced to not recognize Taiwan, they still have allies, and allies in the free world, so the USA, etc., and they will come to the aid of Taiwan. And China won't like that very much. Why did I stay in China for so long and not run away to Taiwan? I tell you what, if I could start over, I would have gone to Taiwan. I had just established myself, and it had been an incredibly hard journey to establish myself in mainland China. And the thought of having to start again from scratch is kind of what kept me from going to Taiwan. China has always been more of a Wild West, chaotic sort of adventure, and that's another reason I was there to explore and to make videos and show the world what I was seeing. And I wanted to go to Taiwan, but at the end of the day, I realized that if I went to Taiwan, I would lose everything that I had worked so hard to establish. That's what kept me from going, really. I absolutely do plan to come to Taiwan in the future, and once the world has more or less normalized and come to terms with dealing with this pandemic that came out of Wuhan, I will, and I'm sure my business partner C-Milk will want to come. My wife definitely wants to as well. And we'll be coming to visit fairly often, hopefully, because it really is the heart of Asia, really, and my favorite place in Asia. It's kind of almost a tie. I mean, when it comes to going to visit a place, Japan is on the top of my list. But if I were to go and stay in a place in Asia for any length of time, any period of time, more than, say, a week or so, definitely Taiwan would be my number one choice. I have a message to the Taiwanese people. Keep being who you are. I've never met a more polite, helpful, and decent group of people. I absolutely have enjoyed every single time I've visited Taiwan. It's such a good mix of everything that's good about Asia. And I can't wait to see you all again soon. And, of course, stay awesome. I remember you left my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling.
Interesting stuff. That was really interesting. I'd like to thank Winston for taking the time out of his busy schedule to do that little interview with me. And although highly unlikely, if you haven't heard of Winston's channel, Serpentza, then go and check it out. Links are in the description. Give him a like, comment on his videos, and most importantly, subscribe to his channel. I really want to see his channel get to the 1 million subscriber mark. So anyway, guys, can you guess who next week's interview is going to be with? Please post your guess in the comments. And until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.